Okay. Okay, a very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very lucky today to be joined by a panel of esteemed professionals from across the globe. We have with us Yarisa, all the way from the US, bright and early in the morning. We also have Geetha, all the way in Asia, very late at night on a Saturday evening. Thank you for joining us. And of course, we have Wahab in the Isle of Man. We have Sam in Austria, and we have Andreas here in Malta. Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This panel discussion is organized specifically for our students to make sure that they have an idea of the future of the industry in investigation, forensic sciences, and also some other parts. Okay, without further ado, allow me to introduce the panel in more detail. Actually, they'll be introducing themselves. We have Yarisa. Yarisa, welcome. Would you like to?
Sure, absolutely. I can get started. All right, so I don't want to bore anyone. I would like to be respectful of everyone's time here. So very, very, very high level introduction, and I'm going to speak slowly. So first of all, thank you for the invitation. Good morning to some of you. Buon pomeriggio. I'm not sure I said that in Italian very well. My grandma will kill me if she hears me. And good evening to those of you in Asia. I believe there are a few of you right now. So my name is Yarisa, and I have been in the field of the financial crime and organized crime for close to 20 years. That seems to be a long time, but there's a lot to learn. I have worked in different levels of the organizations, so primarily in the banking industry. That's where I spend a lot of my time, and I work on areas from cybercrime to lending fraud, real estate fraud, all at the international level. Then I migrated slowly into the retail and logistics, which is another industry that oversees a lot of scam and financial crime, right? I had to kind of follow the money as we kind of speak in the financial crime / organized crime field. And then from there, I went to the government because at the end of the day, the government regulates a lot of this policies that we have in place. And that's where I am right now. Not to bore you, a little bit more on this complex area is that I am a little bit of a geek when it comes to like organized crime and financial crime. So like random things and movies and shows in America, I kind of know them all. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email on that one. All right, back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Yarisa. Geetha?
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning to everyone. And I'm very happy to be here and to be able to meet everybody. Likewise, in the sense that this is an area that is of great passion to me. I started off as a typical number cruncher, a chartered accountant, and over the years with my career, about 20 plus, you get to see a lot of things in boards and in the corporates that are generally quite well hidden until and unless someone comes forward. So this is a particular area of interest for me, and I think it's something which is very relevant towards literally anybody today. Gone are the days where you're very specialized in this particular area. Today you can come from any background, and these are areas that would be very something that you need to consider as part of your career, as well as the risk of doing business. Likewise, that is one of the reasons why we have come up with some new programs as well in terms of the masters that is also being offered in EFI over here. So we've got the Masters in Business Management, Financial Crime and Digital Technologies, and I'm very happy and honored to also be the program leader for this particular program. Thank you. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Geetha. Likewise for us. And Sam, a lot of you might know Sam already, but I'll give him a few minutes to introduce himself.
Thank you, Michelle. So because we have a lot of Italians here on this meeting, Ciao, mi chiamo Friedrich, meglio conosciuto come Sam. Sfortunatamente il mio italiano non è così buono, quindi parlerò in inglese, ma non sono neanche molto più bravo. All right, I hope that was understandable. So, yes, my name
almost perfect, Sam.
Thank you. My name is Friedrich Steiner, but everyone knows me as Sam. It's a bad story. I don't want to bore you with that. Anyway, I'm in the field of policing since 1980, starting as a street cop in Vienna. I became an undercover agent in the early 80s. And after that, until 2005, I was working on different positions against drug crime. And in 2005, I was entrusted to set up the first crime analysis unit in the part of Austria where I live. And since that time, I'm still heading this unit. And every time when I'm off duty, I'm doing some volunteer stuff for different associations, like the International Association of Crime Analysts. And now, since a little bit more than 1 year, I'm heading the European Association of Crime Analysts together with Andreas. And I'm also volunteering for the EFI, especially in terms of being the director of research for digital forensic, cybercrime, and crime analysis. That's from my side now, and back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Sam. Grazie mille. Next up, we have Wahab. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? That's perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope you are doing well. So I believe it's a kind of big population that we got at the moment. I can see it's about 188 people, and I'm quite happy to just seeing each other at the moment. So let me give you some sort of background about myself. I did my master in information security and PhD in the same field, which is about, again, information security, or some of you may just call it like cybersecurity. So I've got 10 years of teaching and delivering the same thing like cybersecurity and digital forensic, and 7 years of cybersecurity and digital forensic, in terms of consultancy and cybersecurity and digital forensic services as well. And at the same time, I'm full-time, and for different institutes, I'm doing kind of part-time cybersecurity, delivering cybersecurity courses and modules here and there. And from time to time, I'm delivering, these services for different companies or institutes in the case that they need to ensure that their businesses is safe and secure, or sometimes maybe there is a kind of cybercrime that probably it requires digital forensic to be in a place to ensure that we are able to gather enough information or evidences which could bring to the court of law. So this is kind of quick introduction, quick kind of briefing about myself. And by the way, I'm program leader or program manager of Master of Cybersecurity, Digital Forensic, and Crime Analysis in EFI. So if you got any doubts or question, for sure, so probably you can just find my name on internet, just simply Google my name. So you can contact me through LinkedIn or probably through email address. I'm quite happy to just get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you, Wahab. And we have, last but not least, I'm not sure if he needs an introduction. We have Andreas. Would you like to say a few words?
I don't think so. I think our students know a lot about me. In any case, I'm a fire investigator and forensic engineer since 1999 in Italy, mainly but international too. And I think I'm lucky in my job because I'm meeting a lot of important experts in different fields of the forensic industry. And we have a really nice example here today. I think that if you are thinking to your future career, the best is, of course, to understand what's your passion, what you like, what you are expecting, but also it's very important to understand how some fields of the forensic area are evolving, so the trends. And I think that the best way is to listen the experts speaking about these fields, to understand more about them, more about their evolution. And that's why we are here together today. So I am answering directly to the question you are now reading on the screen, and listening the experts speaking about some fields, you can understand why we are offering some programs, starting from general programs like BSc in criminology, forensic psychology, and criminalistics, and offering after that masters in the areas that we will speak about in some minutes. Experts are very important, because you can understand a lot, you can learn a lot from experts that are using the same concept they are teaching every day. And that's why we have our expert here today, and I hope you enjoy this meeting. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Andreas. Okay, so we'll start off with Yarisa. Yarisa, for your very many years of experience in organized crime and financial crime, we would love to hear your insights in some of the industry trends that you see at the moment.
Absolutely, and I kind of compile a lot, but I kind of tone it down a little bit for the audience. As I mentioned before, it's been 20 years of a lot of research in the area. Most of it I spend in the banking industry, but what I'm seeing lately is an increase on specific non-banking areas. A lot of hype, a lot of trends happening on gambling and gaming. Europe has not seen a lot of those trends yet. I know the UK recently had put in some sort of fine for a lot of the companies that have lack of social responsibility. Gambling in the United States has become a mobile type of deal. So back in the day, you have to go into a casino and play and gamble, and that was easily regulated and it was easily being tracked. But now it has gone mobile. And what happens with this is that there's a lot of issues with the geolocation, and I'm not trying to get technical or stealing the thunders on our cybersecurity experts here, but a lot of the criminals are finding ways to kind of tap into those issues that we're seeing coming in. Another area that is really picking up a lot is the real-time everything. The consumer is demanding, I want it all and I want it now. At least the Americans, that's how they live here. So a lot of those things are leading into a more immediate funding. So back in the days, you will make a deposit in the banking institution, send it to them, you wait 20 minutes, you wait 1 hour, you wait 24 hours to get. Now people are becoming more and more demanding, and they want to see a lot of payment system happening in real time, to a point that the Fed in here, which is the regulation or our major banking industry regulated by the government, has enacted real-time payment, which is going to go live pretty soon. But it has taken them about 10 years to come up with this. So we are a little 10 years behind, but it may lead to a lot of fraud. We're seeing a lot of traffic with people trying to gain access to accounts that are dormant in the banking industry so that they can begin the fraud. And so that was a couple of the examples that the feds were taking while they were piloting the system. And then finally, the rise of AI, right? Artificial intelligence is becoming really strong in every single sector: health, insurance, government, banking. That is also leading the way. And what I'm seeing with this is, unfortunately, our AML program, anti-money laundering program, is not able to catch up with how the speed of AI is working. The KYC process is becoming a lot slower, and a lot of the regulators are looking into ways on how to keep up with what is already very fast working technology. So those are the trends that I'm seeing right now. It will be really interesting and keeping a lot of kind of a lot of attention, putting my attention to it. It will be interesting seeing how this evolve in 2024, how much fraud we're seeing. I know that the World Bank just put out a big statement indicating that 57% of the consumer have gone mobile. And so with that, we know that there's going to be a lot of fraud happening. A lot of organized crime is going to start kind of piling up in the background because it is driven by consumer demand. And so I would like to come back to you on 2024 and let you know how right I was or how wrong I was with this trend for sure. So I'm going to stop here because I can carry on to just allow everybody to kind of speak up. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Yarisa. I think you'll be spot on with those trends. Thank you for that. Next, we have Sam, who works with the Crime Analysis Unit in Austria. It would be very interesting to hear from you about what you think the industry trends around IT and crime analysis is.
Thank you, Michelle. It's really difficult to talk about that without using some bad words. Honestly, let me give you a small overview about what happened in the last years. So I would say crime analysis arrived in Europe around 20 years ago and has become an integral part of daily police. But unfortunately, at the outset, there was neither well-founded basic education nor constant training or further education for crime analysts. So many police departments, they were running a crime analysis unit, and it was really depending on how these single analysts are working and their enthusiasm to get more education and trainings. So it was a very bad time, and you can argue that the crime analysis is undervalued globally, not only by executives, but also by many investigators. And only when an analyst has provided investigators with some stuff, then they are successful with that. That could help to bring crime analysis more and deeper into your police agency. This was, at least I would say, the last 15, 18 years, the same stuff all over the world. But the good news is in recent years, it looks like there is a massive rethinking about the job and the job description. It breaks away from the old image, I would say, of the evaluator as a tool specialist and visualizer, and it turns now into a problem solver, a thinker, and a communicator. And it ends now with two main focuses. One is the product creation, and second, it's the product communication. This is how it looks now. And a modern crime analyst now has at least four topics, I would say, how he can help his police agency to work really good, really successful, effective, and it's the effective control of resources and forces. It's an enhanced crime reduction, I would say, and the new and innovative intervention options are also more and more important. And at the end, I would say tailor-made concepts in which the possibility of continuous adaptation is taken into account is also more and more important. And I would say we are on a good way, but we are still not there where we want to be. So that's it for the moment.
Right, Sam, very interesting to see the developments of crime analysis in Europe, as you've put it, and how we've come along, although we've come a long way. I've said along quite a few times. It's still a lot more to go. So just tying into what Yarisa was speaking about with the pace of change in terms of the trends going forward, with everything moving mobile and AI that is just blown up. Of course, we are already late speaking about AI in some ways. And the opportunity for fraud is out there so much easier. Fraud, organized crime, financial crime, and the need for crime analysis experts, as you say, people who are trained, people who are able to support the operations of police organizations around the world. People who are suitably qualified and know what they're doing. The need for that is truly just increasing over the time, isn't it? So
Yeah.
very interesting to hear from both Yarisa and Sam. Thank you for the trends. I don't know if Andreas wants to add anything in terms of the trends.
No, I think we have a really good example, two really good examples. So nothing to add, and what the students can see is that the technological part, in any case, for the future is very important for us, and that's why we can also go ahead for showing what we have prepared for them for their future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Andreas. So as we've been speaking about for a long time already now, we are now delivering 2 new master's courses, and we have also with us 2 program leaders for both of these masters. One is for the business management, financial crime and digital technologies, Geetha, who will be doing a short introduction on the program, and then Wahab will be doing a short introduction for the other master's program. So now, before I jump ahead of myself, I would like to pass on the floor to Geetha for the short introduction on the program.
Thank you very much, Michelle. I'll make it short and sweet, but what I would like to say about this wonderful program is that it's very comprehensive, and it takes into account, basically what was shared earlier by both Yarisa as well as Sam. The one thing that we really need to understand is that there's a huge integration today. So especially, when we look at it from corporate crimes itself, everything is related to a certain extent, but the question would be, where do you look for it? And that is why when you actually take a look at our program, we've got these 3 areas, which is we touch on business management, we touch on how crimes can actually happen on a corporate front, and where digital technologies actually come in. We also take into account a lot of developments that's actually happening internationally. One particular area, apart from corporate governance, is that we also focus on ESG. The EU's requirements in terms of sustainability reporting. It's huge, but companies are not ready for it, and there is an anticipated growing risk of greenwashing or fraudulent reporting in this particular area. So it's, there's a lot of things that we're taking into account, apart from even as what was mentioned earlier in terms of AI modeling, both in terms of IT modeling as well as financial modeling. And we, of course, touch on the traditional basis of even financial reports. So it gives you an idea in terms of how do you look for things in a very collective front. And this really helps in terms of building your career, regardless as maybe even as a consultant, or maybe say, for example, a person who's handling strategies, or an internal auditor or something like that, or even someone who's looking at just a pure investigation role. So there's a lot of interesting, I would say, modules that we actually have within this program itself. And I hope that is something that, you all would actually consider as well, because it really helps to develop you over the various programs that we have actually aligned over there. And likewise, it ends up with a dissertation that once you've actually gone through this wide array of modules, you're able to actually start looking at what you would like to specialize in. The one thing that I must say is, as much as we are focusing in terms of technology, and it's definitely a much needed area, please also remember that crimes still do happen on a traditional front. So that is one of the reasons on why you would need to have the best of both worlds, and this program can provide you that. Apart from that, if you actually take a look at a lot of the job profiles or job descriptions that are available online, you will see that it's no more something which is, just specialized towards accounting or law or technology. Today, it's very much I would say, integrated in such a way that you need to know everything. You need to know what to look for. Even with AI, even when you have machine learning or deep learning, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. You can have false negatives. So this master's program has all those components inside it. And likewise, digital technologies brings a whole new level of digital crimes. So yeah, I hope I've actually sparked your interest inside this program. As I said, there's a huge array of career possibilities that you could also pick up when you actually enter into this program. And but of course, due to the time constraint, I'm not going to be able to get into most of it. So please feel free to reach out to us to ask more questions, and maybe we can finalize something which is going to be very relevant to you. Thank you. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Geetha, for the very comprehensive overview of the program. Indeed, I agree with you, being a chartered accountant by training, that this program truly delivers the need of the 21st century, because in the past, when we were studying, it's about maybe you need an accountant or you need a lawyer. But today, it is completely different. You need someone who knows where to find the information, and not just to know all of the information, but they also need to know where to find them. So this course really brings everything together in a more cohesive world that we live in today. We have a short video to show the students. So this video will feature the people you've seen. I will go on and play the video. It might not load.
Responsible business management is the foundation for sustainable and successful business. Learn to navigate the world of business with a comprehensive understanding of corporate governance and ethical practices.
This expert-led masters will equip you with strong analytical skills to prevent, detect, and investigate financial crimes in the digital world and bring white-collar criminals to justice.
At the European Forensic Institute, we believe that successful business management goes hand in hand with ethical responsibility. Be part of our legacy, gain a global perspective, and join us in the fight against financial crime. Empower yourself with a qualification that truly makes a difference.
All right. Okay.
Was an over. There we go. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. I'm not going to repeat my name because Andreas did such a great job pronouncing it. So it's irrelevant at this point. I know that you're going to see on the very bottom of your screen subtitles. Hopefully this is easier for you to read and understand.
All right, that was on the YouTube video that was still playing in the other page. Okay. Back to regular programming. So thank you, Geetha, for the very comprehensive overview of the program again. If you have any questions from our students, we will have a panel open for discussions later on. I'll move on to the next slide. Okay, in this next slide, I'd like to present Wahab, who I think he's taught many of you as well, and he's a professor in cybersecurity and digital forensics, very experienced. So I'll leave the introduction to you, Wahab.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle, for that. So if you don't mind, could you just let me just share my screen, because I prefer kind of slides, like 3-4 slides, to just go through them with everyone, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. Not yet.
That's all right.
We'll check this
out in the live version.
Yeah, I've got kind of offline version of that, unfortunately. Yes. Yeah, this is live, and these things could be happen from time to time, I believe. Yeah.
That's all right.
So still, I'm not able to share my screen. So probably I share with you this file with you, Michelle. I don't know if you can just share, download my file. I just send it through, chat box, not chat box, or private chat.
Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it.
There you go. Once it's open, please go to slide number. Let me just open it again.
Yes, I have it here.
Yeah, please go through number 3, all the way start from number 3.
Okay.
Michelle, now we have in the presenter of a hub, probably she.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can share. Yeah.
I can share
start.
directly.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, exactly.
I move into the presenter because.
Yeah, even I can share my screen, Michelle.
I have it up, I think.
I think it's better.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let me just take this kind of, ownership of the screen, which is going to make sense. So give me a second to bring everyone to the left side. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Can you see this presentation?
Yes.
That's perfect. So let's start with this kind of slides. I prepared some sort of statistics relevant to cybercrime. I'm not going to go through them. I'm not going to lecture everything because usually I tend to talk too much. But quickly, as you can see from left to right, these are some numbers that, as obviously you can see, is increasing all the way from 2014 to 2021. So this is kind of research that happened by this kind of organization or company, and it's showing us the percentage of organization compromised by at least one successful attack. So as you can see, at least specific attack happened for each organization over the past few years, and it's already increased all the way from 2014 to 2021 from 61.9 or almost 62% to 86%. The middle one is showing us the ransomware payment by quarter, which is again started from 2018 all the way from there to 2021. And as you can see, the payment for ransomware, or basically the ransom average, is already increased from something to at some point reached to 250,000, almost close to that. And it's just changing from time to time. And the most right side, as you can see, these are top 10 most valuable information that probably cyber criminals are looking for. So you may ask yourself, the moment the criminals are trying to hack into any business, organization, company, what would be the main first goal or objective? So probably would be like stealing or damaging your customer information, financial information, strategic plans, and much more things that probably you can just read from the slide. And on the right side of it is about the top 10 biggest threats, cyber threats that are relevant to organization, like phishing attack, malware attack, and cyber attacks, and much more, right? So as I said, we don't have much time, but quickly just give you some sort of ideas what's happening, what's going on around the world. And from the main title on top, which is kind of small, 2-3 lines over there, they are saying that the global cybercrimes damages are predicted to cost up to 10.5 trillion annually by 2025, which is really, really huge amount of money that probably businesses, organizations, or countries or places are losing at the moment. And it could be even much more, who knows? So based on that, we can understand there is kind of cybersecurity skill gap. So this morning I was picking this kind of the most recent news from here and there, and these are some headlines, right? And probably from some sort of information underneath of each title, you can see when or date or who basically published these things. So obviously, as you can see, there are a lot of opportunities here and there, but due to lack of these cybersecurity skills, so we don't have enough number of professional cybersecurity experts or professional to fill those kind of roles or opportunities at the moment. So it's everywhere. It doesn't matter if you are in the US or UK or Europe. So everywhere we need, or the board, we need basically as some sort of cybersecurity professional or expert in this field. And I just picked some of those headlines, and these are some relevant one. And for sure, if you Google, the same thing you can see is everywhere. You can see the similar things from here and there. So the next slide I'm going to share with you is some sort of average annual salary for some specific cybersecurity positions. To be honest, these are just few of them. I can say we may have more than 20 or 30 roles or position or opportunities or different kind of roles, as I said, that probably can just apply after graduation or attending this kind of program that I'm going to just give you kind of introduction to that. So this is the lowest one, as you can see, and the highest one for information security manager or cybersecurity engineer or application security engineer and much more. On the right side, this is about the average salary for cybersecurity analysts only across the Europe. So for instance, Italy could start from 41,000 euros, all the way to Germany, which could be 63 or 64, almost 1,000 euros per month. This is kind of, average salary for specific role, which is cybersecurity analyst only. So the more you know, the more you do, the more you practice, the more experience you will get, for sure is going to increase based on the left side kind of table, as you can see. And I'm moving to the next one, which is basically briefly, shortly explain about this master in cybersecurity, digital forensics, and crime analysis. And probably you are aware of some details of this, but please contact me. Do contact me if you've got any doubts or question. So quickly, this is about 18 months postgraduate program, which is again accredited by Malta Further and Higher Education Authority. And everything over there is going to be handled online. So it's kind of virtual classes. You don't need to just attend your sessions, through offline or face-to-face. You need to just get online from anywhere, wherever you are living. So you need to just get online during that time of the session. So that is really important. This is about 90% compulsory for each module, and everything in terms of, as I said, laboratory or practical and written assessment even is online. So that's why it means that we are thinking of the quality of jobs. Some of you may say, okay, this is kind of online, so probably this is kind of easy things. No, we have thought of that. So the written assessment and all labs are kind of heavily hands-on or practical things to ensure that you got the right, kind of skills and experience to get the right job at the end of the day, which is coming next. And the language of delivering or structure is in English, which is like this thing that is happening at the moment. So some of you may ask me which kind of job you can apply after this program. So these are some of the examples, to be honest. We can think of, particular one or much more things in the future. But for now, you can apply for cybersecurity analyst. You can apply for information security analyst. You can apply for digital forensic analyst, investigator, relevant to computer forensic, cloud forensic, mobile forensic, which are very kind of up-to-date area or areas. But in this way, if you would like to apply for different roles or different kind of locations. Penetration testing, you can do penetration testing, something like testing the security of website or web application or any business organization network, or you can do risk management analysis. So probably sometimes you need to analyze what's the risk level or kind of security level of any organization or company. So probably you could do that by attending this course or kind of program at the end of the day. And for sure, you can do security auditing, or it can be security auditor at the end of the day, like going to any organization company to ensure that they are safe and secure by following some sort of security controls or policy, standards, procedure, and so on and so forth. So these are the main jobs you can apply. And as I said, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm available, through this email. You can contact me if you've got any doubts, question, you can just ask me, or if you Google my name, so probably you can just see my profile on LinkedIn and can ask your question even through LinkedIn. So I'm available over there. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Wahab. I'm so glad to see some of those slides with the statistics that you've provided. Very interesting statistics that I'm sure our students appreciate.
Yeah, Michelle, just one thing. So I've got another meeting, if you don't mind, right? So within next 5 minutes. So I should say, I apologize if I made, this session, maybe within next 5 minutes, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. So it's just in the interest of time. We will now have an open panel discussion. We have a few questions that the panel might answer, but if you have any questions as well, it is more important for us to answer your questions. If the students have any questions, feel free to write them in the Q&A section. I hope we haven't lost them yet, if they're still here.
Michelle, I can say to the Italian students that I say, ok, for gli studenti italiani, se vogliono che non scrivere in inglese, possono scrivere in italiano, poi facciamo le traduzioni del caso, quindi se avete domande non preoccupatevi della lingua.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. So since Wahab has to go off quite soon, we'll get him to answer his question firstly. So I think Wahab, would you like to tell us a little bit about the ethical considerations for professionals in digital and cyber security while we wait for questions?
Yeah, of course. So it's really important in terms of specific digital forensic to, follow some sort of ethics, because it's really, really important in the case that we are dealing with some sort of, privacy or kind of, people or individual information at the end of the day, because we are trying to gather this information and we are trying to analyze this information to look for any sort of evidences. So it's really, really important to think of, any ethical consideration or anything relevant to that. That's why in higher education settings like university, like EFI, we are trying to deliver this kind of, ethical consideration to ensure that students are aware of this matter before moving to any kind of action like digital forensic. As I said, we are dealing with sensitive information relevant to privacy or relevant to individual data, that we should consider this at the end of the day.
Right, thank you, Wahab. Does anyone else in the panel have anything to add with regard to ethical considerations? Okay, no problem. We'll move on to, thank you, Wahab, for your,
no problem,
for your participation in this panel. We'll keep it open for a few more minutes and while we discuss the rest of the questions. And if students have any questions, please feel free to send in your questions. All right. I'll go back to Yarisa. Yarisa, would you tell us what you think are the essential skills for managing and mitigating financial crime in the digital age?
So there are a lot of essential skills. In the United States, we're seeing a high demand for individuals with data analysis skills and some sort of science in a way. Most specifically, you need to learn some sanction laws. The sanction laws can be very complex, and a lot of people that are in that area seems to lack all the knowledge. Again, it is the reason why I spent 20 years almost in the financial industry, just because there's so many laws and regulation, and it takes one person to absorb those things. But what happens is, if you spend so much time absorbing those things, you don't become good at actually digesting them and putting them into a result-based approach. Another one that is pretty much is in the cyberspace, which Wahab was just speaking about. That it's really important. We have a very, and he showed great numbers. I was very happy to see those amazing graphs that he kind of put together in that area. Having the knowledge of data security part when you're looking into the financial sector is really important, specifically because a lot of those trends are coming in. And I'm going to take a couple of the key points that a couple of the people here said. I think it's really good that we need to look into what is your passion. Looking back at when I started in this area, I did not know I was coming to be into this field. I was operational. I was in the banking, just operational. And I just happened to find a really good niche in data analysis, which then migrated into cybersecurity, which then migrated into risk and fraud and financial crime. But I didn't do that just by kind of just focusing on one thing. I dabble into different things where I found my passion, and I volunteer in different organizations. So what I would recommend for many of you is, if you still are kind of trying to find what is your passion, as Andreas mentioned earlier today, find a place where you can volunteer and kind of try to do different skills. I know Sam mentioned volunteering for different organizations. Europe have those organizations. I can give you a couple of them. Financial Services Volunteer Corps work internationally, and there you can volunteer and actually online and gain a lot of financial skill set that then you can apply into how does financial crime, how does organized crime happen? Because essentially that's where it starts, is the money. We have a say here in the United States that you follow the money, and I have done that for many years. Something very important that I would definitely tell you is be fluent in a second language. I have always believed that when you speak two languages, you're worth two people, and people pay more money for that. So think about your fluency of language. If you need to skill yourself in Spanish, for instance, I speak fluently Spanish, make yourself really good at that. And then you will be able to speak in two languages. People will give you more money, and you have a passion and knowledge and expertise on those language. And in here, that's what we're seeing in the United States and in many other countries. We're seeing in Spain, the trends are people want English and Spanish skills. We're seeing in the United States, people want language like Spanish, French, and English. so that they can be more versed and more diverse, to be honest. And those are some of the trends that I'm seeing here, and most needed skill sets. So if you want to get into that wagon of I want to do this and this is my passion, do some of those research and you'll be good to go for the future for sure. And I'm going to leave it here, just being conscious of time.
Thank you, Yarisa. Great motivation, hints and tips for our students here. They need to know sanction laws, but they need to know how to make it result-based, not learn it too much. And then, of course, find their passion as well. That's very important. Next, I have a question for Sam, I think. Sam, how do you think digital forensics and crime analysis interact? What are the unique skills in this sector?
First of all, before I start answering this question, let me point out that I absolutely agree what Yarisa was talking about, the skills and especially the language skills. So I think that's one of the important things. If you want to be successful in your job and you only speak one language, that's not enough. At least two, or maybe better, some more. Like yourself, Michelle, I know you speak some more languages. Unfortunately, I'm not as good in other languages, but good enough to talk. So, but coming back to your question, digital forensic and crime analysis intersect, because it started with digital forensic. Everything what a crime analyst is working on, or most of the stuff, is coming from guys who work on digital forensic. Give as an example, you know that all this data coming from let's say mobile devices or from networks or from databases, wherever. We need people who are working on digital forensics to get all this data out, extracted, so a crime analyst can use it. And the crime analyst itself is not focused on where the data comes from. He normally doesn't care if it's from a mobile phone or from data storage or whatever. At the end, both have to work together. And the good thing is both groups have to have the same, or not completely, but mostly the same skills. So that brings me to the skills what, in my opinion, a modern crime analyst or also someone who works on digital forensic should have. And first of all, there should be an understanding of law and criminal investigation. I could see it all over the years now in the field that it's more important to know how your police agency is working. You should have the opportunity, or trying to get the opportunity, to work with investigators, go out in the field, have ride-alongs to see how they work. Otherwise, your products will not fit at the end for the special needs of your agency. So the easiest way could be that you become a sworn officer, or at least let's say someone who works as a civilian for the police. But to get a better understanding, you should also do other jobs there. This makes the basement for working as a digital forensic guy or as a crime analyst. And what you also need is to have a good logical and critical thinking. If you don't have that, it's the wrong job for you. You have to have also good communication skills, in my opinion, because everything what you have to explain, you should be able to do it in let's say in an easy way. People should love to listen to you. So if your communication skills are not really good, once again, you're on the wrong job. Your ability to initiate is more than important in this job, because you have to be initiate otherwise you will not get the data you need. You will not get contact to the right persons. You should also have a really good competence in the methodology you have to use. It's also the technical competence you should have. And I'm pretty sure the special expertise in the respective area of your applications you need, it's also more than important. No, it's not last, but one of the last things I would highly recommend is your team skills, and the cooperation skills are really, really important. Also, your responsibility. Why is this so important? Because everyone may imagine that you cannot do everything on your own without being in contact with other people. So my opinion is also that diversity is important in the field of digital forensic and crime analysis. No one can master all the skills that a job profile requires. So the right mix of team members, this is my personal experience over the years, is more than important because they can complement and support each other. So at the end, your team and cooperation skills are really, really important. Yeah, that's it at the moment, but I'm pretty sure the list is not complete. There are still some other things you should be able to work on, but that's the main important list I mentioned now.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, very comprehensive list you've provided to our students, and I have no doubts, and I completely agree with you in all of the different skill sets that you've mentioned. Something that's very convenient for them is that we try to address all of these skill sets in both master's program and even in our bachelor degree program. So all of our programs are really tailored to fit the needs of a professional, which is why we also organize all of these discussions with the experts and professionals to get your point of view. So really appreciate the input both from yourself and Yarisa about the skills needed in the field. Next up, I have a question for Geetha. Geetha, in regards to financial crime, how do you think that intersects with digital technologies, and how's the industries and businesses all around, how are they responding to the intersection between digital technologies and financial crime?
See, the first thing that I think that I should touch on is this misconception that just because you have technology, fraud is just not going to happen. Fraud is still going to happen, full stop. The most important thing that we need to keep in mind is going to be this. As much as we have development in technologies, in regulations, in codes, whatever, the same way criminals are always going to be thinking of new ways on how they're going to actually work around these loopholes. We can talk about those where they say nothing can actually infiltrate. But today you can also Google various different areas in terms of where hacking has happened and things like that. So we need to be very clear about there's still vulnerabilities in the system itself. Now, having said that, one of the good things about, I would say, when it comes towards forensic IT is that as much as it's growing, today we are able to actually extract a whole lot of information from very basic devices itself. Even if you have deleted something, we are still able to go back, get that, and use that. But apart from that, we also need to remember there's always going to be a legal context, and we need to make sure that we don't get too ahead of ourselves, especially with all this data privacy and data protection, arenas that we are looking at the same time. But yeah, I mean, you have technology. The one good thing would be that the moment that you have technology, you tend to have a trail in the background. You tend to have logs, and people are unable to actually delete a whole lot of things because of that. But I just want to bring up one particular case I had many years ago, whereby in the sense that it was an in-house investigation, and to a certain extent, there was a wee bit of, I would say, sensitivity, because there was a lot of individuals that were part of the family-run business as well as a related party. So we had to keep our investigation under wraps. And one of the crucial areas that we needed to focus on for that investigation was a newly implemented ERP system. And after several months of investigations, we finally got the vendors to actually admit that, number one, they had unauthorized access even after the sign-offs, and there was no audit logs, which was very surprising. So the point that I'm just trying to make is that we shouldn't, as much as there's development, we shouldn't just assume. One of the things that we need to be very pragmatic about is the suspicious mind. But at the same time, just to add on to the earlier discussion in terms of skill sets, I would also like to point out about the emotional intelligence that you need to have, because at times people might try to provoke you. At times your investigation might not be going the way that it should be going. And at times, even after a complete investigation, especially if it's in-house, they may tend to actually sweep it under the rug. It's very frustrating at that point of time, but you need to keep on track with all these things and to make sure that you're still able to come up with a very professional piece of investigation and report, especially if you're going to be an expert witness in court, because your defense attorney is going to tear apart your report. And if you make a slight mistake because of, say, for example, you're too hasty or you assume certain things, then it becomes an issue. So yeah, just to wrap it up in that way.
Right. Thank you, Geetha. Definitely not something we need to assume that just with digital technology, everything has an audit trail doesn't mean it is no fraud. It is correct, because people find a way and crime finds a way. And that's what we're all here to learn a little bit more today. And also for every time in the future, every time technology improves, we'll keep learning and keep developing new skills in this end. So no, thank you, Geetha. I have a last question here that is set by for Andreas, but we'll also wait for questions from students, if there are any. Andreas, what's one piece of advice you would give to
This is a really good question. This is a really good question, and I hope there will be some good questions from our students too. Spero ci siano domande dai nostri studenti anche alla fine. In any case, this is a big responsibility and not easy to answer this question. If I'm thinking to my experience, if you are looking to the future, if you are making your choice for a future, so choosing a program or another, you should, in my opinion, balance your passion, what you like, your expectation, but also you should consider the opinion of experts. Again, that's why we are here. How can you put everything together? You should be curious. You should be looking for information. The concept of information is very important. Networking for that is very important. Who can give you the opportunity for networking? For example, your institution, for example, EFI, we are organizing online events. Then again, starting from the beginning, like Meet the Experts, we are organizing conferences, for example. In October, we will have in Malta 2 international conferences, one in fire investigation, the other in is related to crime analysis. But also the professional associations. We have experts part or managing international associations of experts like EACA, like IACA, like IAAI, and so on. So you should be active and propositive. Another important thing related to the information is that I've never seen information falling down from the sky. You have to look for information, having also the tools and considering the ways to find information. Our programs, for example, are very important for this. They provide information, but they provide also the way to find new and important information through the contents of the programs and through the lecturers, guest lecturers, and the experts we are providing to you. Becoming part of a professional community since the beginning of your path in our institution, this is the advice I can provide to our students for thinking to the future, thinking to our programs, and not only, of course, for who is finishing the program and considering like BSCs and considering something else for the future, studying or working.
Thank you, Andreas. For everyone who's here today, when Andreas says curiosity and passion is very important, that is something I can testify to because that's something he's been saying from the beginning since I've known him. So definitely your passion and your curiosity in the field is something that's very important to seek out for information. That is very, very important in this field. You need to be looking out for different people, to different experts to give you their opinion. So thank you for that, Andreas. I've come to the end of the questions that I've prepared for our panel here today. I'm wondering if there are any questions from our students.
Now we are testing the curiosity.
No, I think they are.
Curiosity level.
Yes, I think they are all potentially eating lunch. But
hungry, yeah.
I'm hungry too in consideration of time. Now, once again, I'd just like to thank very much our panel of experts here, to Geetha, to Andreas, Sam, Yarisa, Wahab, who's left us, Elise for the wonderful video, everyone who is here today who's participated in this event. At the European Forensic Institute, our goal is to connect students and professionals. So we want to connect students and professionals from all around the world to learn together and from each other. So I hope we've achieved that today, and I hope you found this panel discussion useful. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Now seeing here questions.
Thank you,
so we will wait a question for the future.